if Justin Trudeau somehow stayed on as prime minister, that would be the biggest Christmas present to the Conservatives that they could ever ask for.
Justin Trudeau took questions yesterday after he reacted to Donald Trump's tariffs. Don't worry, we aren't going to subject you to that, but a question was put to Justin Trudeau that had prompted many people to send us concerned messages about when he will actually step down, some even going so far as to say that he won't be stepping down.
Let's take a look.
Thanks. Hi, Prime Minister. Rachel Haynes from CTV National News. As we know, the Liberal Party is going to be picking a new leader over the weekend. But when is it going to be your last official day as Prime Minister?
That will be up to a conversation between the new leader and myself to figure out how long a transition is needed. It should happen reasonably quickly, but there's a lot of things to do in a transition like this, particularly at this complicated time in the world.
Okay, so this is what people are concerned about, because Justin Trudeau had said, I'm going to be prime minister and I will be resigning as soon as a new leader of the Liberal Party is selected.
Right, which you think would be March 9th.
Right. Now, that technically is correct. So, but there are some complicated things that happen in government in every country when a leader is changed out, whether it's an election or a new leader in a party that's taking over, like it is in Canada.
And I should say it's not just in government. It also happens in other high-level positions like CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, etc., etc.
Right. So even though somebody's resigning, they still technically, retain some of the privileges. Somebody comes in, they have the new title, but they're not really ready to step into the job yet. Now, you look at somebody like Mark Carney, who has never been in the House of Commons. He's going to need a little bit of guidance,
Just a little bit?
As to what he's going to do, especially because he can't step foot in the House of Commons. So he is going to be walked through a whole bunch of stuff by Justin Trudeau. And I know there's going to be a bunch of comments over all the corruption and everything like that. But let's just assume that this is just going to be process-based. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that he has to learn. There's going to be a lot of stuff that Justin Trudeau is going to be like, oh, I was looking at this, and I was, in the middle of this, I was being briefed on this, and you need to be aware of this and that and this and that. So there is a transition period. Now, normally in Canada, it's a matter of weeks for that to actually happen. But as soon as Mark Carney becomes the leader of the Liberal Party, like everybody expects him to, he is now going to be the de facto prime minister. So the issue is that a lot of people are saying, oh, this means that Justin Trudeau isn't stepping down and Justin Trudeau is going to remain prime minister and we're going to be stuck with him. You just watch. Well, here's the thing, folks. If Justin Trudeau somehow, he can't, but if Justin Trudeau somehow stayed on as prime minister, that would be the biggest Christmas present to the Conservatives that they could ever ask for.
But as you said, he can't. And as we've reviewed previously in the past, that once the prime minister gives his resignation either publicly or to the party leadership, then it's done. He's resigned. It's over. Now, he may stay on in the interim, as Justin Trudeau has, or if the prime minister at the time has a deputy prime minister, they want to resign right away, they can do that as well. But he cannot go back on this. He is resigning. There is just kind of a grace period where Trudeau is on his way out, and he's kind of showing the new leader the ropes on the way in.
Now, another worry that has been brought up is that, oh, well, Justin Trudeau is going to just declare that the Liberal race wasn't fair and he's going to cancel it and he's going to remain prime minister.
He can't do that.
He does not have the power to do that.
No, because of that rule that I just stated.
Right. The only people that can do that is the Liberal Party of Canada. And that would cause such an uproar within the Liberal Party itself. Again, that would be the biggest Christmas present to the Conservative Party that they could ever wish for.
Right. They'd be back in the upper 40% for vote share, no problem.
I would actually say they would be higher. They would probably be in the 50s, because all of the Liberal base, like the legit Liberal base that voted for this, are going to say, what the heck is going on? This was a fair contest. I voted for my person, and now you're just declaring that this is not going to happen, and Justin Trudeau's it's not going to happen, folks.
Right. Now, we've tossed around a lot of hypotheticals and what ifs, but the reality of the situation is that Justin Trudeau will stay on probably for a couple of weeks as Prime Minister, while the newly elected leader of the Liberal Party is also the Prime Minister. And that is to kind of show the new guy the ropes, show them what's going on, explain certain things, etc., etc. The government also does this when it's changing hands. So when we have our election and, God willing, the Conservatives win, then the Liberal ministers and Prime Minister will stay on for a couple of weeks to transfer power over to the new Conservative government. This happens every single time there is a change in government. This is not unusual. And again, it's to show the new government the ropes. It's to make sure that there's no bumpy transition, that things go smoothly and Canadians don't really notice any issues.
Right. So when that does happen, it is not the Liberals trying to hang on to power. It's not the Liberals trying to, run some sort of coup or anything like that. This is a normal operation of government when they are transitioning from one party to another.
Or transitioning from one leader to another. This happens with ministers too. When you have a minister passing over the file to a new minister, the same thing happens.
Right. So many of you that have worked in corporate Canada, you see this on a fairly regular basis. But for those that don't work in corporate Canada, this might be a new process. But this is typically normal, and the intent of it is to provide as smooth and graceful a transition as possible. So now, what to expect in the coming weeks? Well, on Sunday, Mark Carney, unless something crazy happens, Mark Carney is going to be anointed the new leader of the Liberal Party and therefore the new Prime Minister of Canada.
No, he's not going to be anointed. There's going to be an election process within the Liberal Party that's going to occur. We're going to talk about it on our live stream Sunday night, so make sure you don't miss it. And we are expecting it to be Mark Carney because that's all we're hearing about in the news.
Right. And then roughly 1 week later, so this is going to be on Sunday, the 16th of March, we are expecting at that day at the latest, there's going to be a election call by the Governor General of Canada, and we're going to be in an election mode, and that is probably going to happen between April 21st and April 28th. So, like, this is happening, folks. The machinery, it's already moving even before it's called. So there are a lot of things that go into elections. There's call centers that have to be reserved. There's signs that need to be made.
Elections Canada needs to hire staff. If you want to get involved with your EDA, now is a great time to do it because they're going to need your help.
Right. So there's a lot of these things that are already happening. And the only reason they're happening is because there's going to be an election. That's actually how we knew that there was going to be an early election in Ontario, because call centers were already being contracted to work for Elections Ontario in order to handle the increased volume that they were going to be taking during the election. And that was weeks before this was announced. But they're not allowed to say anything, or they're not supposed to say anything. So, but this is what happens, right? So this is happening, folks. This is happening.
So rest assured, Justin Trudeau will be stepping down as Prime Minister. The exact date is kind of murky right now because, again, he's going to be transitioning over his knowledge and his power to Mark Carney, and that usually takes a couple weeks. But we expect that we'll be going to election very soon, and that the whip will be dropped the second week in March.
So buckle up, everybody, because I usually say it's about to get bumpy, but I think we're going to be going over that hill on the roller coaster, and it's going to be moving pretty fast real soon.